we're past the era of men making assumptions that women need help. Because again, that could be considered disrespectful and misogynistic. And so men aren't going out of the way to just lend a helping hand to women because they don't want to be seen as misogynistic.
For years, helping was expected. Now it's optional. And that shift is making a lot of people uncomfortable.
Take the microcosm of a woman experience some kind of violence. Generally speaking, if there are men in that vicinity, they will step in to protect that woman. Vice versa, if this...
I don't think, generally speaking... Are you from the South, you said? Because
I'm
West
from...
Coast, men are not jumping to help us.
I thought you were strong, independent women. You don't need to depend on men.
Maybe if feminism wasn't so prevalent in these Western areas, they'd be more like the South.
So men here don't protect us because we're feminists?
No, it's because they're feminized.
Feminized.
So, yeah, I mean, men naturally protect those who are weaker. And, I mean, that's a product of patriarchy, which is a good thing. Patriarchy protects women. It's the dismantling of it that hurts everybody.
Bring the patriarchy back, I guess?
There was a time when men stepping in to help was seen as normal, even expected. Whether it was emotional support, problem solving, or just being reliable, it came with the role. Now that expectation is fading, and people are noticing the difference.
There is quite literally nothing that aggravates me more than the amount of men that I see on the New York City subway that do not stop to help women at all. I will see women struggling with literally like 60-pound strollers. They have a baby on their arm. I will literally sit there and I'll wait and I'll be like, okay, let's see how long it's gonna be. Some man obviously has to see this lady struggle. I'm watching them looking at her. No, they don't. Why am I, the 126-pound woman, helping this woman push a 60-pound stroller up a staircase because you guys won't help her? I see girls struggling with suitcases all the time. Women struggling with groceries. Y'all just sitting around. Not all of y'all are in a rush. I don't know where y'all going. Most of y'all don't even got no damn jobs. Act like a man.
What changed isn't ability, it's willingness. A lot of men started questioning why they should automatically take responsibility in situations where appreciation feels low and criticism feels constant. That shift didn't happen overnight.
It feels a little fake and gay. I gotta tell you guys, it feels a little fake and gay, and there will be no fakeness and no gayness.
How charming. However, whenever I see this type of post, I always wonder to myself, do the types of women that make these particular styles of posts, do they actually ask any of the men to help them? Or do they just expect the men to help them because they're women and they are men, and that's stereotypically what men are supposed to do in their normal gender role, is help helpless women that can't do things for themselves? Because there are a lot of women out there that really don't seem to actually want to be viewed as independent. They want to be absolutely dependent on men, but yet at the same time will argue that they're equal to men. But I also noticed that they didn't say anything about women helping them with the baggage either. So I wonder if they asked any of the women. But honestly, I really think that this is just another way for some women that have absolutely nothing better to do with their time than to just find some random thing to complain about men for.
Instead of leaning in, many men are stepping back. Not out of spite, but out of recalibration. When effort feels one-sided, people don't double down, they reassess where their energy goes.
I just had 5 grown-ass men walk by, grown-ass, able-bodied men walk by as I struggle to carry all of my shit and help this poor mother with 3 children carry her stroller down the stairs. They just looked and kept walking. I'm literally dropping my umbrella and everything. They just keep on walking.
At the same time, independence became the standard. I don't need help was the message for years. But when that message meets reality, the absence of support starts to feel different.
So I was scrolling my FYP this morning and I saw a video of this girl who was talking about the fact that she ghosted her boyfriend after almost a year. And listen, I'm not a fan of ghosting at all, but in this case, I approved of it. And basically she went on to say about the fact that she'd come on hard times. I think she lost her job. She was kind of struggling. She'd been dating this guy for a year who has like a job. He has a house. He lives with his best friend, I think, and whatnot. And basically she was struggling in hard times and she was saying, you know, I feel like I'm going to be homeless. You know, could I potentially stay with you for a little bit? And basically this man wouldn't let her stay with him because he was basically going to make her figure it out on her own, even though he had been dating her for almost a year and whatnot. But he was so quick to live with his best friend, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, this just made me realize that men, I've always known this, but men who truly love you will never want to see you struggle. And I want to share a story to that aspect. Try and make this quick, but when my fiance and I first started dating, he was in between jobs. He changed careers. And at the time, he was working at the grocery store just because he was waiting for this new job to start and he needed something in the interim time. At the time, I was living with roommates. This was like back in 2021. And I'd had a really crazy roommate at this time to the point where I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I was thinking about I was going to have to move. It was a crazy situation and we were trying to figure out what to do together. And when I tell you that this man was working at the grocery store at the time and he's like, do you need help? Do you need me to like help you cover something? Do you need this man was willing to go above and beyond. And mind you, the fact this time before he started his job, he wasn't making that much money. But the fact that he saw that in this time, like a lot was going on and the way that he's like, what do you need? Can I help you with anything? Do you need me to help you cover rent? Do you need me to help you do this? And he wasn't making a ton of money. But the fact that he saw me in times of distress, it wasn't crazy distress, but like he saw that things were happening and he was not willing to watch me suffer during this time. And he's like, whatever you need me to do, let me know. Say it. I can help you in this time. And he didn't end up needing to give me anything. But the fact that this man was willing to say, whatever you need, this is a crazy time. We're going to figure this out together. I don't care. I will give you the last dollar on my back. Because he did not want to see me struggle, just goes to show there are men out there who will have all this money, they'll have all this, and if you come into hard times, they won't even offer anything. Like in her case, he like if I was in her situation at that point, he would say, "Oh yeah, come move in with me. What do you need? You're about to be homeless. Great, pack your bags. Let's go. I'm not gonna let you live on the street." And it really just goes to show that there are men out there that will sit and play in your face. And she was also talking about the fact how she made it very clear from the beginning, listen, I want to be engaged within a year. And if at any point you do not see this happening, I need you to let me know. They'd been having conversations the entire time. Nowhere did he bring up the fact that they were not on the same timeline until all this came down. And when she re-brought it up, I want to be engaged within a year. He's like, what made you think that? What made you think that? And it just made me realize there are men out there that will sit and play in your face. And then there are other men out there that will literally give you the last dollar they ever have because they care about you so much and they love you so much and they will never stand to see you suffer. So let this be a reminder that if you ever find yourself in that situation, you need to leave. You need to walk away. In this case, I approve of the ghosting because this man was just sitting and playing in her face and she deserved so much better than that energy. So once again, men who truly love you will never, ever let you suffer.
The confusion now comes from mixed signals. Independence is celebrated, but support is still expected. And when those expectations collide, frustration builds on both sides.
New York is really not the same New York I grew up in. I just saw a woman struggling to come down the stairs with her baby carriage, and men literally walked by. Of course, I stopped her and I said, "Ma'am, can I help you?" And I helped her all the way down 3 flights. Like, what happened to New York? What happened to men in New York?
Right, but if you're a man and you watch me struggle to put my carry-on in the overhead compartment and you don't offer to help, jail. What is wrong with you?
A lot of men also feel like helping has become risky. What used to be seen as supportive can now be interpreted as controlling, unnecessary, or even criticized. So instead of navigating that uncertainty, they opt out.
They're not coming. They're not coming. The gentleman that said that they would protect women and children, that we need them because they protect women and children, they read the emails and they're not coming. There's more emails, there's more testimonials, and they are not coming. They have not arranged a meeting. They have not sent out an email. They're not coming. So we will gather. A couple weeks ago, I sent out a text message. I sent out a TikTok. I posted it on Instagram, and I asked, We need 1 million voices. We need the collective of remarkable women organizations and groups, and we have received over 100 submissions. So think about it. 100 women's groups becomes 200 women's groups, becomes 300 women's groups, organizations, women in construction, women in law, women nurses of Minnesota, whatever. Your small group that has 200 women, 2 women, or 2,000 women, or 2 million women together, we are the economy of scale that is necessary because they are not coming. They've seen the evidence, they've heard the crying, the testimonials, and it has not moved them. So that means we must move. There is a link in the bio if you'd like to join, because no one is coming to save us. Women must save themselves.
And opting out doesn't look dramatic, it looks like silence. Less involvement, less stepping in, less volunteering. It's not loud, but it's noticeable.
I'm going to start like observations from a single woman, right? But one thing I've noticed is like, I feel like as women, we have to stop being with men who don't like us. And I say that because I will sit there and watch a woman struggle with a man, like, and I just don't understand it, because why would a man who likes you sit there and watch you struggle, or sit there and watch you need to ask another man to do anything for you that they are capable of doing? It's different for things like that clearly need a professional, but like for things that don't, why would they prefer you to go and seek help somewhere else instead of them figuring it out or offering or insisting on being the solution to your problem? That makes me feel like they just don't like you for real.
Meanwhile, the reaction is strong. Why aren't men helping anymore? Because help used to come with appreciation, and now it often comes with scrutiny. That changes behavior quickly.
So I just got followed by a man for multiple blocks and eventually had to, in the middle of the park, get up and scream multiple times, "Can somebody help me? This man is following me." Because no matter how much I walked and how much I moved, he kept trying to fucking follow me and harass me. So just another day. I literally had to scream at the top of my lungs multiple times for somebody to come and help me. And you know who the first person was to come help? A woman.
This isn't about one side being right or wrong, it's about incentives. People respond to how their actions are received. When the feedback changes, the behavior follows.
All right, why are none of these so-called men not helping any of these girls, okay? And before I go on my little rant, let's explain. There's a video that's going viral right now. I actually haven't even seen it, but this guy, I'm pretty sure, punched a girl and like nobody did anything. I haven't seen the video. Like literally, I don't know, but I just wanted to respond to this. And a lot of people are making videos talking about how this girl makes a video how like men will sit there and watch you die because like no men did anything in this circumstance. And you have a lot of comments saying things like, why are none of these so-called men not helping out any of these women? And this is the problem that I have with this sentence. It's because they're putting the key word on emphasis on men, being like, well, a man's job is to protect women, which a lot of them keep commenting things in quotes, but who's going to protect you? Apparently no one. A lot of these things are like made up things that they think men say, but like no man actually says that. But men are protectors. Like we don't say that. A lot of women are the one that put that job title on men, and then you're upset when it's not being fulfilled. The correct answer here should, why is nobody helping her? Why was nobody stepping in? Again, didn't see the video. I don't even know. And it's kind of contradicting and ironic because a lot of the comments, like you can tell, they're trying to frame it in this way, like, oh, who's going to protect you? Apparently no one. They kind of do have this subtle thing where they did expect a man to come and protect them. So you do expect that. Because when it doesn't happen, you guys are upset, and then you're looking at every man in the general vicinity wondering why he didn't go and step up and do something. When in reality, a lot of women have made it very clear that they think that they don't need men. But then whenever something happens like this, you start yelling at men like, I thought you guys were protectors. We didn't say that. You guys keep saying that. The reality is, in most situations like this, where like a dude just starts swinging on somebody, male or female, a lot of it is just what you do in a natural instinct when you're in panic mode. Like a lot of people just don't have that in them. I was gonna make a separate video about this, but I'll give a little like pre-video about the video. There was a long time ago that I had a friend who doesn't know how to fight at all. And then we got into a fight that I did not want to be in. I actually did know how to fight. And then afterwards, the guy felt really bad because he didn't do anything. And he kind of just watched me, you know, get a bunch of guys beating me up. And I explained to him that in no area would it have helped of him coming in to help me because he doesn't know how to fight. That wouldn't have helped besides him getting hurt. You can't expect people to just jump in there and save the day when a lot of people aren't used to these very high confrontational situations. And then you keep saying things like this, but men are protectors, like you're putting it in quotes, but you clearly do think like a man's job is supposed to step up and protect a woman. But in reality, it's just a person's job. You would hope a person does that. I would hope that if a woman saw a bunch of guys beating me up, that she would come in there and scream and do something to get them to stop. Moral of the story here is you kind of have to pick one as usual. If you're going to sit here and shame men for not helping out these women, you are in some sense kind of subtly saying that you think men are supposed to be protecting women or whoever. Moral of the story is this guy's a terrible person, don't get me wrong, but let's not act like men go around saying this. Like I really don't hear this stuff like the male loneliness epidemic, who's going to protect you, but men are protectors. I don't hear men saying this. This is what women say that they think men say. So moral of the story is you got to pick one, but that's just my opinion. But hey, what do you think?
There's also a growing focus on self-preservation. Men are investing more in their own stability, their own routines, their own peace. And that often means being selective about where they offer support.
Hit on primarily by men in their 40s and 50s, online and in real life.
So men in their 40s and their 50s will hit on you, but men your own age don't want nothing to do with you, and you trying to figure out what's going on. Well, hell, there's a couple different things going on here. First, men your own age know just how goddamn toxic and dangerous to their own well-being that leftist white women are. They know to stay away from you. Men in their 40s and 50s, hell, we never had to deal with you when we was in our 20s. We don't know no better till we learn the hard way. And second, and definitely just as relevant to your particular situation, is the fact that men your own age can still see.
The result is a gap. Expectations stayed the same, but participation dropped. And when those two don't align, it creates the feeling that something is missing.
Do you know what I actually can't believe? Yesterday I was on the tube coming home and a drunk man got on the tube and he sat next to me originally and was chatting to some other people that had a dog. Oh my god, the bags under my eyes. And then they got off the tube and he was like looking at me and I was just ignoring him. I was just doing my own little thing. Then he moved and sat opposite me on the tube and then he was going, hello, hello. And I just looked at him and was like, I was like on my phone, but I like looked at him and he was like, you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And he was like, where are you from? You from Italy? And I was like, no. He was like, you from here? And I was like, no, because it was like London. I was like, no, somewhere else. He was like, oh, you're on holiday? I was like, no, just travelling. I was trying to be like just short and like get him to stop speaking to me. And then he was going like, oh, well, he had a beer in his hand and he kept spilling his beer everywhere. And I was just trying to ignore him. And he was like, are you married? And I was like, yeah, I'm married. Obviously not, but I was like, yeah, I'm married. He was like, oh, have you got children? I was like, no. He was like, oh, so you're single then? I was like, no, I'm married. And then he was like, how old are you? And I was like, oh, I'm 20. I was like, if I knock a few years off, maybe he'll leave me alone. As if that would make a difference. And he was like, oh, young. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, okay. Then he just kept like mumbling like Italian words because he thought I was Italian. And I was just like, on my phone, like, and he just would not stop. He was just like, he was like going, high five me, shake my hand, all this. And then he was like, oh, bye-bye, I'm getting off now. Then he stood up and he was just still looking at me, like just standing there. And then he didn't get off. He sat back down and he was like, oh, not getting off yet, actually. And I was like, oh, okay. While this is going on, there's a bunch of men around me that were English because they were speaking English like a minute ago before he got on. And they were all just ignoring it. They were all just like leaving him to just literally harass me. And then notice like the last stop of the train is where I was getting off. And that's obviously where he was getting off because it was the last stop. So he was like, oh, okay, I'm getting off now. Obviously I hadn't realised it was the last stop. So I said, oh, bye. And I let him get off and I stayed on the tube for a bit just so that he could walk ahead. And like, again, no one said anything to me apart from one girl took her headphones out and she went, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm just like letting him walk ahead for a bit so like he doesn't speak to me anymore. And she was like, oh, I couldn't tell if he was bothering you or not. Like, I appreciate that the girl actually asked me if I was all right and everything, but like the men didn't do anything. Like, chivalry is dead, but also you couldn't tell he was bothering me. He was quite clearly bothering me. And then as we got off, she was like, I'll walk with you for a bit, but like, I'm not leaving the station, I'm getting on another train, so I can't come outside with you. And I was like, oh, that's fine. Like, and then as we were walking, the guy had stopped and he like turned around and he saw me and he was like, oh, you, Italy. And I was just ignoring him and he was like, oi, are you ignoring me? Why are you ignoring me? And I was just like, I'm just going to keep ignoring him, just walking. He was going, oi. And then I was like, right, keys are in my hand right now. I had to walk to my car, and bear in mind, I had to get off at Ealing Broadway, which is like a scatty station, scatty area. So the route to my car was like literally a 2-minute walk. But because he was behind me, I didn't want him to follow me. So I actually went like a different route and started walking with a group of people so that I wasn't on my own, because the route to my car, I would have been walking on my own and it was dark. And then he wandered off somewhere else, and I like literally like not sprinted, but like speed walked to my car. But yeah, I was texting my mum as well at the time, and I was like, why is nobody like helping me? They can quite clearly see that this man is bothering me. Why has no man stepped in to help? It really bothered me.
At the end of the day, this shift isn't random, it's a response. When roles, expectations, and reactions all change at once, people adapt. And right now, that adaptation looks like stepping back instead of stepping in.
Men stopped playing by the rules, and now everyone's freaking out. Let's break down why silence has become the loudest move.